Auto attendants are a type of call distribution that gives your caller a menu of choices to decide where to go. This can be a good way to offer departmental options to help direct calls. When you log in, you will be at the group level. Call flow settings like this are typically found in Services. Press Services on the left-hand side to go to the Services section. Auto attendants are found in the Basic column. On the auto attendant page, you will immediately see a list of all group-level auto attendants you have. It is highly likely you have had one or more in place at time of activation. To view and edit one of your existing auto attendants, press the Edit link to get more information about this group. On the auto attendant page, there are a couple of places you may want to become familiar with in order to make changes as needed. The Addresses link lets you manage the incoming number and external extension. The drop-down list shows the available direct inward dialing numbers available for this service. Select one if you want callers to directly dial the auto attendant. Place a 2 to 5-digit extension for the auto attendant here, which will make it accessible internally via transfer and other services. When satisfied with your adjustments, save them with the OK and return to the previous screen. Back on the auto attendant profile, select Announcement Repository to go to the Announcement Repository page. On this page, you can find your files by selecting Search. You will add new announcement files with the Add button. Select Choose File to open up a dialog box. Select the audio file from the local machine and press Open. Give the audio file a unique name and press OK to save this file and return to the previous screen. You may need to do this multiple times if you have business hours and after-hour greetings, for instance. Back on the auto attendant page, we will look at another area of interest. The profile link will take you to the auto attendant modify page, where you can see the basics of the auto attendant. The name for that auto attendant is here. A name that describes the type of calls this auto attendant takes is appropriate. Outgoing caller ID, first and last name, and outgoing phone number can be placed here. The time zone can be selected with this drop-down menu, and it will typically default to Central Time. Next, you have to decide what schedule to use for the business hours menu. The drop-down menu here will have any of your custom schedules. It also has Every Day, All Day, which means all calls coming in will use the business hours menu without regard to time of call. You can designate a holiday schedule as well. These are built like regular schedules but are labeled holiday. When calls come in, if they are either outside of business hours or within the holiday hours, they will use the after hours menu. Otherwise, they use the business hours menu. Extension dialing and name dialing details are set next. And you can have the call sent to the operator designated in the appropriate menu after a set time of inactivity. Lastly, press OK to save your settings and go back to the auto attendant selection page. The last piece to an auto attendant is actually the most important, and it is the menus. Select Menus from the left-hand side to go to the Menus section. As you can see, there are two menus available for the basic auto attendant, the business hours and the after hours menus. Since our auto attendant will use all day every day for its business hours, we will only need to set the one menu. Regardless, both menu pages have identical functionality, and the whole page is visible here. At the top, you can either keep the default greeting or select Personal Greeting and then choose one of the audio files you added previously in the announcement repository. The purpose of the audio file is to advise your caller on which buttons to push, so it makes sense to match the menu actions below to the audio file. Next, you can enable the ability to directly dial extensions at the first level. You may have heard of this before with announcements such as, if you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Finally, you will be able to add actions to the available keys with these selections. For each key press you wish to enable, add a description of its function for easy troubleshooting later. Then select an action from the drop-down menu, and add any additional data if appropriate. When you are finished, you will press OK to save your changes. The actions available to the auto attendant buttons are found in this drop-down menu. Let's take a look at each one of them in turn. The No Action setting is first. A button with this action will simply do nothing if pressed. Transfer with Prompt will transfer to the extension or phone number in the Action Data column after a computer-generated announcement, while Transfer without Prompt does the same thing without the announcement. It simply begins ringing. Transfer to operator works like transfer with prompt, but designating this extension as the operator for the purposes of inactivity transfers. Name dialing reaches an IVR that asks the caller to input 3 letters of the party's name to help find them. Extension dialing reaches an IVR that allows the caller to input the extension. This is unnecessary if the first level extension dialing has already been enabled. Transfer to mailbox is yet another IVR, this time sending the caller directly to the voice portal of the extension that they enter. Play announcement will play another chosen audio file, then return to the main menu. Repeat menu plays the announcement again, and exit will disconnect the call. Remember that, for best effect, the button actions should closely correlate to the instructions in the announcement.